This is case number 16-1705. People versus Maxwell Brack. He's here for sentencing, Your Honor.
Good morning, Kajavia Globe on behalf of the people.
Ronald Weitzman on behalf of Mr. Brack. Good morning, Judge.
All right, good morning. The advisory guidelines are scored 225 to 562. Are those accurate?
As far as the defense is concerned, they are not, Your Honor.
All right. Let's take them one by one.
Sure.
Ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
PRV is scored as 0, and we concur. PRV 1, yes.
Oh, okay.
PRV 2 is scored as 10 for 2 prior low-severity felony convictions, and I understand from my client that he has only 1 prior low-severity felony conviction, that of felony firearm, and not felonious assault. Accordingly, we would make it
joyriding, and that he got me dropped. Like, I was only arrested for a day.
okay.
Prosecution response?
Your Honor, according to page 6, which is the start of the defendant's adult history, number 3 of 8 shows that in 2011 the defendant was convicted of felonious assault and felony firearm. That would be 2 low-severity felonies.
Okay. I see that. So, are you saying that there was not a conviction for one of those counts?
According to Mr. Brack, that is correct. That he only pled to a felony firearm count.
Right. The original charge was a felony firearm. I mean, it wasn't felonious assault. It was A1.
But you weren't convicted of felonious assault.
No. The A1 was dropped.
Okay. Just saying.
Well, the probation department is pretty detailed about this, indicating the defendant was convicted of felonious assault and weapons felony firearm, that he served the 2 years on the felony firearm.
Your Honor, I have a certified copy of the conviction if the court wants to look at it. It shows felonious assault and felony firearm.
All right.
And assault with intent to murder is dismissed.
Yes. On the judgment of sentence, it shows 2 convictions: weapons felony firearm, felonious assault, and the assault with intent to murder was dismissed. All right, so I'll deny the motion to change that.
Thank you. As to PRV 3, high-severity juvenile adjudications, Mr. Brack informs me that he has only 1 prior juvenile conviction for joyriding.
No, I don't know how many of them was. It might
I
have been.
don't see
the BAD.
anything regarding the joyriding
UDA,
under his
joyriding.
juvenile history.
UDAA.
Yes.
Looking on page 5 of the pre-sentence report, which is the defendant's juvenile history, number 1 of, well, it should be 1 of 3, the motor vehicle unlawful use, that would be the joyrider, which is a high misdemeanor, also stored as a low severity felony. Number 2 of 3, which it says 2 of 2, is the breaking and entering of a building. That would be a high severity felony. It was ultimately expunged, but as the court knows, expungements are counted in the prior record variance.
And there's another. No, that was a dismissal. Number 3 of 3 was a dismissal. Okay.
My client informs me that he never even went to court for the former one that we were talking about, that there was never a case brought against him
For B&E.
For B&E.
Right, I was
I understand.
for 1 day.
Well, it doesn't seem to be what the government records show,
I understand.
so I'll leave it as it is.
PRV 5,
Is that PRV 3?
that's 3,
Okay,
yes.
the court will deny the motion with the objection of the defendant.
PRV 5, 1 misdemeanor juvenile conviction is what I understand, and so that sounds like it's correct.
5 is all misdemeanors.
Right.
Juvenile and adult.
Yes, juvenile and adult. And PRV 6, relationship with the criminal justice system, is scored at 5, and I'm informed that he was not on probation or delayed sentence at the time of the offense. Is that correct? Not on probation or parole at the time of the offense.
Placed on probation on October 29th, 2015. And the date of offense here is December 14th, 2015.
I'm informed that he served 40 days for that and there was no probationary period.
There was a violation of probation warrant issued January 2015, and they indicate that it's still active. Defendant failed to sign the terms and conditions of the probation order. So we have the docket number. Let's pull that file. All right, but at this point I'm going to deny the motion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Moving to the offense variables, OV3 is scored as 25, indicative of life-threatening or permanent incapacitating injury. I think under the circumstances of the case, nothing like that was proven. We don't know the cause of death. We know that the death occurred, of course, but we don't know what kind of injury at all was involved, if any.
It's fine.
I don't believe there's any requirement that we have to specifically specify what type of injury there was, that there was an injury that was life-threatening or permanently incapacitating. And considering that Ms. Globe lost her life, I think we can qualify as life-threatening or permanently incapacitating pursuant to People v. Houston, 473, Michigan 399, 2005 case. OV3 should be scored at 25 points in a homicide.
All right. Court will deny the motion to strike 25 points on OV3.
OV5 is scored as 15 in the PSI, and serious psychological injury to the family. I know that there has been some testimony to that effect, but I think that the prosecution has not proven that, and given the defendant's defense, all that had to be believed in this case is that there was an intentional killing. Obviously, that was the conclusion of the fact finder in this case, but I don't know that there was, by a preponderance of evidence, proof of psychological injury to anybody else.
All right, Ms. Fine.
Obviously, I disagree. During the trial, both Louisa's mother and sister testified, one of her sisters, and they both testified, probably not extensively, but to the effect of how this Ms. Globe's death has affected their family. They are both present here and can give more information if the court needs it. But as testified, Ms. Kajavia Globe was essentially the heart of that family, and they're basically hanging on by thread just to be here today. And in the precinct's report, Ms. LaShawna Globe indicated that they do need psychological counseling. They've just been waiting until this part of it, this stage of it is over before they start. There is no requirement that they start in order to be scored, and I think it definitely needs to be scored in this case.
All right. The evidence was that the deceased family member went missing on a Friday, I think, evening, and the family was immediately concerned because they indicated that that was unlike her, and the body wasn't found for 4 days. So there was apparently a lot of anguish that occurred over those 4 days, and probably some wished that the worst wouldn't be the case, but it turned out to be the case. And so I think that the testimony and the evidence in the case support the 25 points. I'll score it at 25.
Just 15.
Was it, which one we talked about? 5?
Only 5.
Yeah, I'll leave it as scored by the probation department.
Thank you, Your Honor. OV6 is 25, and that's appropriate given the conviction for second-degree murder, as I understand it. OV19 is scored as 0 by the probation department. We concur with that. The prosecution requests it to be scored at 15, avoiding or obstructing justice in some way, and I think that consistent with the defendant's defense, that he was around, remained around, indeed spoke with the police after the event, after the body was found on Sunday, I believe, and continued to be in the area, never absented himself in a way that would lead anybody to believe that he was obstructing justice, and so I think it should be 0.
Response.
Well, I'm actually only asking for 10 points, Your Honor. And
That's correct.
the sentencing guidelines are very clear that when we talk about obstructing the administration of justice, we're not just talking about the criminal investigation or just the trial procedure. It's both of those things. And so we have to look at everything that the defendant did. He hid her body in a dumpster. That's an attempt to thwart justice. He gave a statement to the police where he lied to the police. He lied under oath in the trial, Your Honor. Those are all worth more than 10 points, but I'm constrained to only ask for 10 points because of the rules of OV19.
Okay. So the prosecution is asking that OV19 be scored 10 points instead of 0.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to grant the motion over the objection of the defense. All right.
That concludes our comments on the guidelines.
So the offense variable score changes from 65 to 75. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And the prior record variable score stays at 32. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's correct, given the court's rulings, yes.
And then the advisory guidelines are 225 to 562.
That is correct.
Any other additions or corrections to the pre-sentence report, or anything else?
No, Your Honor.
None for the people.
All right, prosecution?
Your Honor, there are 3 family members who would like to address the court.
All right, they can come forward. Give your full name for the record, please.
Adia Lord.
Do you want some water? Okay.
I'm okay.
What's your full name?
Ania Lawrence.
You're gonna have to speak a little louder and clear.
Ania Lawrence.
How do you spell the first name?
A''Nia.
Okay. And Lawrence?
Lawrence.
Okay.
I know.
Lawrence, you may speak.
I just want to say that I'm torn apart. I don't sleep at night no more. I feel like what he think he did, whatever he think he accomplished, I just hope that, excuse me, but I just hope that a broom gets stuck up in his butt every day. I hope that he suffers. I hope I just really hope he suffers, and I see he already suffering because of the ball on his head, but I really don't have a filter right now, so I'm
How are you related to,
I'm her youngest sister, the
your
baby.
sister?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Who's there with you? Who are the 2 ladies with you?
This is my mother, and this is my second older sister.
Your mother is a young lady. Okay. Would the mother give your full name for the record and speak?
Kajavia Globe. I'm going to let Dee speak first because
Okay.
I'm going to be there for a second.
All right.
Alondriana Burns, for the record. I'm right under Kajavia, so now I'm the oldest. I just want to let everybody know that counseling is more than needed, and I lost my backbone. I lost everything. I have my younger sisters, but nothing compares. And anybody in the world that knows Maxwell knows how me and my sister is. You know, I'm Thelma, she Louise, and I don't have my sister no more. And I just want everybody to know hurt is not a word. Destroy is not a word. I would just ask, and I know it's so far-fetched, but why you didn't? You could have just took us together, because I never had to live without my sister, and it's awful. And I know that's something I shouldn't wish for myself, but if he could have just had me too, and we would have been together, because I know whatever happened to her, she was scared and she was afraid, and nobody was there to help her. And if I was there, it would have been 2 of us, but I know I would have been there with my sister. And that's all I got to say.
All right, Mrs. Globe.
Your Honor, I'm addressing you today as a mother that had an intuition That baby, that was the devil. I seen it. I announced it. It's not the fact that I don't, Maxwell upbringing. I raised 4 beautiful girls by myself. So his upbringing, when he said that has nothing to do with it. He was whooping my daughter's ass. Excuse me, Your Honor. He was abusive. He broke her nose. He was taking her down. He was destroying her life. When she decided to say goodbye to Maxwell, he took her life. Because she was on a road to success. She was going to drop that 0 because she hadn't found her a hero. And her mother was happy. Kajavia covered up that tattoo. Kajavia was flossing, showing Max that she hadn't came up. He didn't like that. The control that he had, he saw that it was leaving him. It was gone. And he couldn't handle that. So he took her life. Because his life wasn't about nothing. Got on stand talking about some prescription. That was his business. How dumb did he really look? Didn't give his attorney time to help defend him. He wanted to sit here like he was the attorney. Never showed any remorse to us. Never. Got my baby flights, and what did he say? He didn't pass out not one of my baby flights. Because he knew he hadn't killed Lucy. He knew he had destroyed. He knew I didn't like him. When he put my baby in that dumpster, that was something to me because I always told him in his face he was trash. He was trash. He was bringing my baby down. He didn't mean no good to my baby. And I tried everything a mother could. I did an intervention on my baby. I did everything. Got her out that abusive relationship. This man came to my house. This man fighting my daughter. They hitting the pole. You know, he took off in her car. I called the police. They wanted to arrest me because I was going to discipline my daughter. I disciplined my girl. Yes, I'm strict. Yes, I'm stern. Yes, he would have never ate at my table. I would never invite the devil to come into my home to eat at my table. I won't never break bread with this man. I hate this man. This man has destroyed my family. This man has took something from me that he can never give it back. Never. And I ask you, mercy, get this man life. What was he doing out here in society? Nothing. He was doing nothing. Nothing. And my daughter was doing something. She was going for her dreams. He saw it. He saw me. He couldn't handle it. You know, he didn't deserve her. He didn't understand what he had. He wanted to bring her down instead of uplift her. He was no good to her. Do you understand? And then all these young other girls, that could have been them. That could have been their parents sitting out here, life destroyed. Do you understand? But they want to sit on here like they were doing something. You understand? And I see why he told everybody he'll never leave her. Because looking at what the work he put on that stand, I know. Because he had a diamond in the rough, baby. He don't want to know how to treat her. He don't want had a baby on her. He don't want to call me several times and told me how he disrespect my daughter. Do you understand what I'm saying? He did this. John Black family has been there with our family from day one. Do you understand? John Black ain't did nothing. Do you understand? Because John Black, he let us be aware that she went home. Because when I met John Black, I laid my rules down just like what I did with that piece of bum over there. Do you understand what I'm saying? He took advantage. He don't care. He ain't show no remorse. He don't care. He killed my baby, and she was so dumb. She loved this monster. You done went to the bank on my baby money. You ain't know nothing about J. Alexander. Baby, she brought you into something. You took my baby from me, Max. And I have told you and Kajavia, leave each other alone. Because one day one of y'all could hurt each other. But you hurt her intentionally, but you didn't see her. But you knew she had groceries in her car. And then a seizure. My baby had a convulsion, Your Honor, while he was killing her. Because that honey, out of her 24 years, she never had a seizure. In 2009, she was enjoying her senior prom, living the life. He was mad because he wasn't invited into that lifestyle. That's all that was. He was jealous. I told Kajavia, he's jealous of you. Ma, you just don't like her. I said, baby, he don't like you. And look where we at today. This man has destroyed my family. My daughter was finna go to the Navy August the 3rd. Her mind ain't even right. He just destroyed it. Do you understand? Don't care. He don't care. That was him at the bank. I said it from day one because he had on that mask. I didn't care because Lucy phone was sitting right in his lap. A lot of stuff at the trial was not mentioned, and I am highly upset about that too. Some facts that I felt should have been brought out, and I thank you because you caught it a couple of times. Well, I was like, I couldn't say it, but you felt it. Like, let's get serious with this. Because a lot of people got on that stand was a joke. They didn't bring nothing to the table for this. Because he would have got first degree. Do you understand? If it would have been ran right, he would have gotten first degree murder. Because Max know he did it. That's why he got some flyers and didn't pass them out. That's why I can't understand how the video of when my daughter met him. I saw that video, and the video y'all was talking about his demeanor. His demeanor. That video told his demeanor. That tape speaks for itself. Not some other young ladies. A demeanor after a murder, he was in there all discombobulated. Couldn't get himself together. Okay? Whether he known he was taped or not. Okay. So what? He know he had took Kajavia. And then she loved this man.
Well, that seems to have been a...
Do you understand?
Yeah.
She loved this man.
Those matters. I am going to strongly suggest, though, that the family seek intensive
Yes, we need it.
counseling because it's
Yeah.
a very hurting situation. And don't be afraid to do that.
I'm not.
Don't be afraid to do that. Don't worry about what other people will say or anything like that.
Nope.
You have to carry on with the rest of your family. And the rest of the family has to carry on with you. So you'll never be the same, but try to minimize the hurt by getting the counseling. Okay? And I do understand. I understand. All right?
I would like to, I'm not finished. Because this is the last time.
I think I've let you say
Oh, okay.
everything because you're starting to repeat yourself. So
Okay.
not enough words for the situation, that's for sure. Okay? Anything else from the prosecution?
Very briefly, Your Honor. As the court obviously noted, the family is, full of a variety of emotions, namely anger and a lot of pain. And that's not something that we look at when we talk about sentencing, especially when I talk about. And I filed a sentencing memorandum in this case because I feel that there are some things that the sentencing guidelines, although they are advisory, do not address. I'm not going to go over everything that's in my motion. I know the court has already looked at it, but I would like to note a couple of things. This man put a 24-year-old girl in a dumpster and then sat her out on a curb like it was a normal trash day. That's not something that the sentencing guidelines can adequately score. And although OB-19 is scored, we're limited to 10 points, although, as I laid out, there are several examples in this case where Mr. Brack tried his best to undermine the administration of justice. And after he was convicted, he sat over in this chair and laughed and joked with his attorney. He laughed and joked about being convicted of second-degree murder, Your Honor. There is nothing funny about what happened in this case. There's nothing funny about what happened during this trial. There's nothing funny today. And when I read his pre-sentence report, and this was a very thorough report, the author looked at his behavior, at his during his first period of incarceration, which was only 2 years. And he had 6 misconduct tickets, which shows how he feels about authority and his lack of regard for anyone else. And Your Honor, I believe that all of those things are more than reasonable in my request to ask you to exceed the top of the guidelines. I don't think that anything less than 50 years is appropriate in this case. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Brack. Do you have anything to say before the court is closed?
I'm innocent. I didn't do this. And to address the smiling in the courtroom, there was an incident that was going on at that time, and Mr. Wiseman was advising me to keep my cool because it was an incident with a deputy who was uttering some things to me as I was coming out, and he was advising me to keep my cool, and that's what that was about. It didn't have anything to do with me smiling, being found guilty of a murder that I've said time and time again that I didn't do. So I couldn't have been getting away with anything. I'm found guilty, so it would be no reason. I wasn't smiling at the fact that I was being found guilty. I don't think it's funny that I was found guilty. You know, like I said, Mr. Wiseman was advising me at that time to keep my cool about the situation that was going on with the deputy who had some type of underlying issue with me beforehand.
As I recall, the incident with the deputy, and I admonished the deputy
I didn't know you knew.
For what was said because I didn't think that it was appropriate. But all of that occurred after the jury reached its verdict. And it occurred when you were being taken back to the lockup. It didn't occur before the jury's verdict. The laughing and the smiling that's being discussed occurred as the jury reached its verdict.
Right.
And the deputy hadn't said anything to you at that point.
Yes. When I came out the courtroom, the deputy was standing right where this gentleman is standing right here, and she looked at me as I was coming out, and said like something under her breath, so it caught my attention.
Well,
so as I was walking,
what was there to smile about?
Because when
it
I got
didn't seem like the exchange between you and the deputy was a pleasant one.
No, it was not at all.
So what was there to smile about?
Because I was becoming angry about it, and Mr. Wiseman was telling me to keep my cool. The jury's on their way out here, just keep your cool. And I was telling him, as I was smiling, I was saying she was really trying to get up under my skin. She was really trying to get to me. And that's what that was about. It wasn't pertaining to me getting found guilty.
Yeah, I have a copy of the video if the court wants to see it.
That's okay. Continue. Anything else?
I just want to say it was a lot of exculpatory evidence that wasn't shown to the jury. And I feel some ways about what's going on and what has happened. But everything I do and say get misconstrued in some type of negative way. So let me conclude everything I'm saying.
I read your background report and I listened very carefully to the testimony at the trial by you and others about your background. And it's not ideal. It's not an ideal situation for a child. But I want to make it very clear that not every child who grows up with disadvantages, parents not there, maybe biological family members not there, not every one of those situations turns out a child with behavior like you displayed, since you at least were about 16 years of age. That's when your criminal record began. In fact, I would say that most children who grow up with certain disadvantages similar to yours turn out to be very sensitive, caring people. Because it's very difficult in this world to grow up without somebody, and usually it's a number of people, showing concern for children. And it's hard to grow up here in this country without some adults showing concern and caring feelings for children who have disadvantages similar to yours. And so children grow up feeling that love and affection and warmth that whoever is giving it to them. That's why we talk about, it takes a village, and because children will accept affection and warmth from adults, no matter who it is. That's why we have to worry and be concerned about our children speaking to strangers. Because we all know that most children, no matter what their circumstances are, they could be bad, they could be great, whatever, but children, minors, generally will accept affection and guidance, which shows that the adults care about them. They generally will. But for some reason, there are few who grow up in that situation, the disadvantaged situation, as well as the advantaged situation. And they end up with behavior like yours. And as the mother, Mrs. Globe, just said, and as she said in the trial, and I hear her, I hear what she's saying. She's not saying, even though she did say she hates you, but she didn't mean that when you were 16 years old. She didn't hate you because of your lack of a family background similar to her daughter. Mrs. Globe, the mother's concern was that if you grew up in a disadvantaged situation where you might not have gotten the warmth and affection from other people that could have made you a sensitive and a caring human being, her daughter was in trouble. That's what she was saying. She was saying that if you're not sensitive, if you're not caring, if you're not concerned about other people's feelings, if you're selfish, and you're with someone who is sensitive, who is concerned about other people, who is not selfish, may be in trouble. And it's just so unfortunate that here we are today. Here we are today. There probably was something about your behavior at 15 or 16 that indicated to Mrs. Globe that her daughter was not in a good situation. She wasn't looking just at your background. She might not have been looking at it very much at all. But there was something about your behavior that confirmed her suspicions and her concerns about her child. And when I looked at your background report, your juvenile background starts around the time that Mrs. Globe says that you and her daughter started dating. It looks like it. It might have started before then, but we don't have that information. But this background report that's in front of me right now, that bad behavior started around the time that you were dating Miss Globe, the deceased, in high school. Now, if a parent, a responsible parent, sees that that responsible parent is not going to be happy. Not going to be happy. Not if you care about your child. And as Mrs. Globe said, she did everything that she could. She put her child through intervention to try to get the child to see that the person that the child is caring for is probably not the person that that child should be caring for. And then I look at your prior record, juvenile adjudication. And as soon as you become an adult, adult adjudication. 5 prior misdemeanors, 2 prior felonies. This is all just adult behavior. This is not the juvenile. The 5 misdemeanors, the 2 felonies. Somewhere during those convictions, I'm sure that you were counseled. I'm sure that someone within the legal system tried to get help for you if you needed it, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Now you're here with the 3 felonies. 1 is just the worst possible one, and 5 misdemeanors. You seem to have had complete control over your trial with your defense attorney. There were all kinds of demands that you were making, demands that at times I found really just despicable during this trial. I didn't like a lot of the things that your defense attorney was saying. I didn't like a lot of the interaction between the 2 of you at that table. I thought it was disrespectful. But I knew that that defense attorney was doing exactly what you were asking him to do, and that was put on a show. Put on a show where another human being has been murdered. That's despicable. Absolutely despicable. It's inhumane. It shows insensitivity to others. It's selfish. It shows a lack of concern for others. All the things that Mrs. Globe was concerned about. It played out right here in this courtroom. It was sad to see our legal system misused in that way for a show. And in this courtroom, I take that very seriously. We don't have shows in this courtroom. We don't have entertainment in this courtroom, not without consequences. It may happen, but it won't be without consequences. And it happened here, and then to top it off, as soon as that jury said guilty of 2nd-degree murder, not 1st-degree murder, there's the smile between you and your lawyer. Despicable. Insensitive. Lack of concern for others. Selfishness. So, I agree with the prosecutor in this case. Not because they said it, but because of what I experienced just during this trial. These guidelines are not sufficient for this sentence. Yeah, it's not mandatory life without parole. It isn't that. But these guidelines of around 46, 47 years at the top, no, they're not sufficient at all. So for all of the reasons that I've discussed, all of the reasons that I've heard this morning, all of the reasons that I talked about of what happened during this trial. It's the sentence of this court that on this second-degree murder charge, you be sentenced to a minimum period of 70 years, a maximum period of 100 years, and the last 10 years of that 70-year sentence, that's for the smile. This right? You're entitled to appellate review of your conviction and sentence by leave. If you need a court-appointed attorney to represent you in that matter, strike that. You're entitled to appellate review of your sentence as of right. If you need a court-appointed attorney to represent you in that matter, you must file a written request to the court within 42 days of today's date. The court will honor that request and provide your attorney with the records and transcripts to effectuate that appeal. Restitution is to be determined. The jail credit is showing at 236 days. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Nothing further.
Yeah, you okay.
Lucky me.
Huh?
Lucky me.
Yes.
Can I get a copy of that order that the judge signed? You know the one I'm talking about, the Dr. Spitz that I turned in line. She said she had some address and I picked it up at the time and signed it. Or do you want me to come back for it?
Yeah. Get a true copy.
Okay.
Can't be
Can I
true
wait?
copy.
Yeah. Should I wait or come back?
Do it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take about a 10-minute break.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you as always, sir.
She gave him. He was for real.